Good to have you with us in this edition of the Urban Debate. Tonight we talk about the mega opposition meet that was hosted by Sonia Gandhi. Earlier this evening, 19 opposition parties have come together in a virtual meeting in pandemic times. That's how it's done. This meeting was chaired by Sonia Gandhi. Top leaders who were in attendance included Sharad Pawar of the NCP, Mamata Banerjee, Uddhav Thackeray, M.K. Stalin, Hemant Soren, Sitaram Yechuri, even former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, Tejaswi Yadav, all of these in attendance. 19 parties and their leaders in all were part of this conversation. Now, what is it the opposition is trying to do? This is not the first meeting. There have been a series of meetings pre-parliament session, during and now after the parliament session as well. What is it that they intend to do now that the parliament session is over? Well, Sonia Gandhi's big message to all of them was that a larger political battle must be fought outside the parliament, and that there is no other alternative but for all of these parties, the opposition, to come together. In fact, she went on to say that we have to start planning now. We have to plan now systematically for the 2024 Lok Sabha polls. It's as clear and direct as it can be, coming in from Sonia Gandhi herself, and a realization within the opposition that for the next general election, which will be in 2024, if they stand a chance, if they want to have a chance, they need to start working towards it now, and that there is no alternative but to work together. She in fact also mentioned that of course each party, each leader has their own compulsions, they have their own views, but the time has come, says Sonia Gandhi, when we rise above our own compulsions. Adding to this was Sharad Pawar, who said there is a much needed meeting, that this is a much needed meeting which is taking place in the present circumstances, that the country right now is facing series of issues, and these are issues almost all political parties raised in the parliament as well: inflation, slowdown, COVID mitigation, unemployment, border disputes. And Sharad Pawar mentioned these again, and he said now is the time for the people who believe in democracy or secularism need to come together and design a time-bound program collectively. Mamata Banerjee, who's also been a very active part of getting the opposition together, especially after the victory in West Bengal earlier this summer. Mamata Banerjee said we should fight the government together and collectively keep our internal differences aside to fight the BJP. And she's right. They will have to keep their differences aside, and it's not going to be easy. Individual ambitions, individual egos, party views, party stands, to the fact that you're catering to individual state voters, the electorate in each of the state, different issues for different kind of voters. How do all of these parties with different ideologies, different thought processes, different promises come together to take on one challenger, one contender, which is the BJP? Attempted in the past so many times, it never worked out. It always fizzled out. Can they now unite to defeat the BJP in 2024? That's what they are hoping to do, intending to do. And a big test of that will be the series of state elections that we have before that. Case in point will be Uttar Pradesh. And by the way, Samajwadi Party and the BSP both were missing from this. The state that goes to election next, two of the key parties from there were not part of this opposition meet. But there are several other reasons why Congress and others will want to push for something like a united front to take on the BJP. Congress by itself has been struggling with leadership and a pan-India presence now, and will need the support of many of these other parties. Can it happen? Can they, outside the parliament, show the same unity, the same strength, and challenge the government the way they did inside the parliament? That's the big question. I say good evening to Charu Pragya of the BJP. Joining me right now, Clyde Crasto of the NCP, Aarti Jarat, senior journalist, Gautam Mukherjee, also a senior journalist. But first up, let me go across to the Congress party. Gurdeep Singh Sapal, good evening to you. Why this attempt right away? Are you so enthused by what you see as a win over the parliament logjam?
Anyway, it is not about parliament logjam. Sometimes in the journey of a nation, It is people who decide. The issues are so grave. Let us understand what's happening in country today and why opposition parties are feeling the pressure as well as the chance to come together. A, poorer are getting poorer. Some 27 crore people have become poorer in this country. Out of 9.9 crore middle class, 3.2 crore have fallen off the middle class. They become poor. They are no more middle class. MSME, 60% MSME are either shut down or are scaling down their business. You talk to any industrialist, there's no business, there's no money, there are no salaries. Even in July, in last month, 34 lakh people lost their jobs. So everywhere there is distress. Then there is the question of surveillance, unauthorized surveillance, about taking away the right to privacy of people, about weakening the institutions. Then you come, people are agitating, and government is not at all listening to them. Farmers are agitating for last 9 or 10 months now, 9 months. Nobody is bothered about them. The vaccination policy is a total disaster. Till now, only 11.2% maybe have been vaccinated with both the doses. So everywhere there is distress and people are now crying out. And the opposition is coming together to give voice to those people. It is not about elections right now. Elections are 2.5 years away. There are no elections around the corner for the union government. The elections will be fought when they come. But today, this government has to be forced out on the streets, in the parliament, in the media, wherever is possible. The opposition has to come together and force the government to do some correctives. That is why today there is a demand to give cash assistance to people who cannot buy food today. Today there is a demand to give cash assistance to people who are not in the income tax range. There's a demand to give support to MSME. There's a demand to give succor to people who are suffering, and this government is not bothered. So that is what is being happened. Today's meeting is one in a series of meetings which was held in Parliament last session. It is not a one-off meeting.
Yeah.
So the opposition parties are coming together because they are answerable to people of this country.
Okay.
It is not just the government which is answerable.
Okay.
Even the opposition leaders are answerable to people.
Okay, so let me ask this question to Aarti Jairath first. Aarti Jairath, if they are able to list out these 10 issues from COVID management, Clyde, I'm coming to you just in a bit, from COVID management to inflation, job loss, economy, if they're able to list out 10 issues that they can all agree on and counter the government, is this a workable plan then, Aarti?
You know, Tanvi, I think there are plenty of issues on which the opposition can, attack or can target the Modi government. There are plenty of issues. Gurdeep has listed them all out. But, I think what is really critical is one sentence that Sonia Gandhi said during the course of the meeting. She said, the Congress will not be found wanting. Now, this is the whole point. You remember in 2018, they came together on a platform in Karnataka where they all stood, the same parties, raised their hands and said they would work unitedly to defeat Modi in 2019. That unity didn't last. They were unable to forge any kind of a front or an alliance or a tactical seat understanding or anything. I think the crux of the issue here is how much is the Congress ready to sacrifice for this opposition unity? Is the Congress ready to take a backseat in UP and let the Samajwadi Party come in front? Is the Congress ready to take a backseat in West Bengal and let Mamta Banerjee, lead the fight against the BJP in West Bengal? I think these are really the critical questions here. That will the Congress, shrink itself to just the few states where it is still a force and give up its grand plans, in states where it once used to be a force but is no longer a force, and let the regional parties take the charge of leadership. Will the Congress do that? Or will the Congress insist on pushing Rahul Gandhi forward as the prime ministerial face, as the leader, and expect, seniors like Sharad Pawar and Mamta Banerjee to just, follow the lead? So I think really it all depends on how much the Congress is ready to shrink itself, to step back and let regional parties come in front. If
Well,
the
well,
Congress
if they have to be realistic,
there's a possibility.
yeah, well, if they are going to be realistic, they will have to. They've already, electorally and politically, they have shrunk, whether it's in Maharashtra, where there are bigger, partners in the alliance, or in West Bengal, where they're completely absent. And of course, right now, it doesn't look like there are, the other parties in Uttar Pradesh even want to be part of this. Let me but ask this question to Clyde first. Clyde, the point that Aarti raised, will this be an important condition or an important aspect to watch out for? Is everybody to follow Sonia and Rahul, or will a Sharad Pawar and a Mamata Banerjee and an Uddhav Thackeray also have an equal or bigger say?
Well, Aarti ma'am said quite a lot of
things,
things.
and I think there's a lot of valid points that she made. But the point here is everybody is going to work together. That's exactly where the point is. You keep saying that, sometime back they met together, things did not work out. Here in Maharashtra, we are working together with the Shiv Sena and the Congress. Okay, so every state, the regional presence matters. When the regional presence matters, that's how the party is going to take things forward. Now, BJP keeps saying whatever they want to say, but look at what has happened in the last 7 years. Right now, like Mr. Pawar said, there are issues in a country that need to be sorted out. Issues, whether it's inflation, whether it's economic downfall, or unemployment, these things are right in front of us. Nobody can hide that. It's all there present. Farmers are agitating, that's right there. What is happening right now? Instead of addressing all these issues, I remember, when the UPA was in government, small rise in petrol, small rise in LPG prices, all the current incumbent, ministers were sitting on the road, sitting on the streets and screaming, holding gas cylinders on their head. But today, where are they? Nobody's talking about this. And what they're doing is, they've got the Jan Ashirwad Yatra coming out and, going out and meeting people. Ashirwad for what? For all the wrong that you've done in the 7 years? That's the whole question right now. The second wave, while the second wave was about to happen, everybody was aware of it. They had huge election rallies. Now, where the imminent third wave, the experts are saying could be possible. Here they are doing Jan Ashirwad Yatra all across the country and, gathering in large numbers. Why are they doing so? Why can't they take this COVID issue seriously? That's the whole point. And let me tell you one more thing. What is the role of an opposition in a democracy? The role of opposition is to highlight what is the wrong of the incumbent government. And that's what the opposition is doing. They're coming together. Now, the point here is so many people coming together. What can they do? BJP is part of the NDA. BJP is part of 35 plus parties, almost 40 parties that form the NDA. If the BJP thinks it's so invincible and nobody can beat them, nobody can defeat them, drop out the NDA, fight all the coming elections only as BJP and not as NDA. We throw the challenge. You come together, you think you are strong and you think the opposition is weak and therefore we are coming together. Why don't you fight all the elections alone as BJP? That's the whole point. The point here is the BJP, which is leading the NDA, is only concentrating on their own publicity, on their own doings. But what about the people? And what Aarti ma'am also said was, what they're going to do, what they're not going to do. See, what you're going to do for the people is what you announce on the general platform. What you're going to do against your political opponents is not what you do or announce in front of general public. That's what is there to be done on a platform in private. So that's what they are doing. All the discussions are there. So whatever has to be done together on a common platform for the people of the country will be announced.
Okay, so I think we will have to wait and watch how you have these, what programs you announce outside of the parliament to take these issues forward. I mean, I would have wanted to hear some answers from the government inside the parliament, but we never got to that point. For all the right issues that you all were raising, we never got the answers because there was no House proceeding. NDA or UPA or United Front versus NDA, Clyde, do remember that BJP still has about 300 seats in Lok Sabha by themselves.
No, let me explain that to you. Okay, so
not even the NDA. So it doesn't matter if they have 15 parties in the alliance.
Give me 30 seconds to explain this to you.
Yeah.
Okay, when BJP gets its own seat, suppose in Mumbai, okay, if BJP wins a seat, it's not just their votes. It's the collective votes of the NDA across the country. This is how political process works. So if a BJP candidate gets elected, he does not get only the BJP votes. He gets the NDA votes. And then he comes, and wherever there's an NDA partner, he gets the BJP votes. So don't think that it's only BJP alone. It's a collective effort, collective voting. This is how political process works.
Okay.
So
what we are, okay.
Votes,
So
not just the BJP votes.
Charu, Pragya, The point here is that collectively 19 parties, maybe more, maybe a few less, it's Rahul plus Sonia plus Mamta plus Sharad Pawar plus Stalin plus Uddhav plus Sitaram Yechuri versus Narendra Modi.
It's touching to see all these opposition political parties come together and be a little social in the times of COVID. Obviously, they used a Zoom call. So I'm sure they had a nice, happy conversation. They could catch up. And I think that's all there is to it, to this all party meeting. We saw a replay basically of what happened before COVID in 2019. We saw those wonderful pictures in 2018 as well. So today what we are seeing on a Zoom screen is basically the same thing that we saw on a stage in 2018, Kumaraswamy ji's swearing in ceremony, when all these people, more or less the same people, came together and they claimed to be united. We saw what has happened after that. We saw how they contested 2019 elections. But that's not the most important thing. I'll tell you what is striking about this all-party meeting today, Tanvi. Clyde, you can wait for a bit. I'll let you speak, even though I disagreed with everything you said.
But
You
I'm
can
not
just
even
wait.
talking. I've just raised my finger. I'm not even talking.
So Tanvi, do you remember at the time of Bihar elections and then after that Bengal elections, where was Congress active? Uttar Pradesh. Congress was trying to show that they are doing groundwork in Uttar Pradesh. Priyanka ji herself leading from the front. They did not bother to campaign and work hard in the states where actually there was election. Today we see a similar thing happening. Next elections, the major ones are going to be in Uttar Pradesh, but there is no participation of major key players of Uttar Pradesh in this all-party meeting. Instead, what is happening is the other people are coming together, like I said, discussing issues which have been discussed in detail. You want to discuss COVID, sir? Why do you not discuss the way COVID was handled in Maharashtra, for example, or even in Kerala, for example? So this is very, very flimsy. This is very, very superficial. And if Congress is a party which is going to make sacrifices, well, I've seen no example of that since I have started seeing politics. Since Sonia ji has been in power, it's always been about pushing Rahul ji beyond the Gandhi surname. They cannot come up with another one. And if the same group of people could not find consensus just a couple of years ago, I don't know how they're going to find consensus.
Okay. So that is a point now multiple panelists have raised here. Mr. Sappal, respond to that.
One quick point I want to add. There is also this entire system of these opposition parties coming together as allies at one election and then contesting against each other in the very next election. How does an alliance work like that? So I'll give you the latest example. Kerala, Congress and left were contesting together, and in Bengal they were contesting against each other. Like this, there are endless examples of these things happening, and this united opposition has not been able to beat Modi anywhere. Even in Maharashtra, the government that is formed, you were talking about votes and vote share, Clive. You remember
Charu, let me just point out that if you start talking about enemies turning friends and turning enemies again from Bihar to Jammu and Kashmir, there are enough examples for your party. I think all political parties do it. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality of our country. When it comes to getting power and seats, anything can be discussed, compromised and adjusted upon. But first, Congress must respond. Clyde, please 1 minute. I need Congress to respond on this point that has been raised by Charu. How is this going to be different than 2018 Kumaraswamy swearing in ceremony or several times after that when all these leaders have come on the stage together?
Tanvi, the response that Charu gave suits political commentators, not the spokesperson of the ruling party. The spokesperson of the ruling party should respond to the issues raised by the opposition parties. What are the issues?
Yes, I was starting.
Please. I did not disrupt you. I did not disrupt you. Let me ask.
Point by point सारे जवाब देती हूँ.
आपको अगर point जवाब देना है, I'll ask you 2-3 pertinent questions. You see, your party's government last year it banned 100 Chinese apps. 100 Chinese apps because you are against China. You were trying to mobilize the entire country against Chinese aggression. But in the same year, your government ended up with 62% more trade with China. Now, how do you as a government respond to this? Yes, 3 days back, the finance minister said that the petrol rate cannot be reduced because UPA issued oil bonds for which NDA government, Modi ji's government had to pay 10,000 crore every year for last 7 years. But how do you respond that in the last 7 years, the total debt that NDA government has taken on behalf of people of India is 57 lakh crore. So tomorrow the petrol should be 10,000 rupees per litre to repay. These are the questions which you should answer. You should forget what happened in Karnataka, what happened in Bihar. You are the ruling party.
But why do you
question is
need
that
Mr.
people
Mr.
are losing
Suppal?
jobs.
Why do you need Mamata Banerjee and Sharad Pawar standing next to you when Rahul Gandhi or Sonia Gandhi have to ask these questions?
Yes, I'll tell you. It's a fact that BJP has a hegemonical power today. It's a fact that they have 303 seats. And it is a fact that they have made a mess out of this country. It's a fact that they have to be fought. And only way to defeat them and fight them is when everyone who believes in an alternative view of India, who believe in constitutional, secular, liberal values, they have to come together and fight BJP today, because BJP today has not just captured power, it has captured the institutions, it has captured the channels of communication, it has captured every single democratic process which keeps our democracy vibrant. And to fight that, everybody has to come together. And there's a reality. Today in Bengal, Congress does not have a single seat. But it is also a fact that out of 542 seats, 470 seats, TMC has no presence. Similarly in UP, Samajwadi might be very strong on 80 seats, but 460 seats, it is not there. In 220 seats, it is Congress which is there. And so there has to be a realistic assessment of mutual power. There has to be a realistic assessment of what people are today suffering from. And right now, issue is not seat urgency. That will come 2.5 years later. Today, we should decide seats today, or we should fight for people today. That is the question. We should try to save people from distress is the question today. And that is what all the parties are coming together to discuss. They're not discussing seat arrangement. They're not discussing who's got what percentage of vote share. They're not discussing what happened in past. If something happened in past, doesn't mean that something better will not happen in future. This is BJP had 2 seats. Today it has 303 seats. So these things do happen. But what it has done with 303 seats, BJP should answer that.
Okay.
Please tell me,
Okay.
Charu.
Now,
how will you
one
replace
minute,
the
please.
57
Before
lakh crore
Charu answers you on issue-related questions, which ideally we should have got the government to answer in the parliament, let me bring in Gautam Mukherjee, who's patiently heard everybody out, and then I will go back to the political. No, please.
Tell me one line.
Allow me
Tell
to.
me one line.
Yeah.
One line. Because you made a comment in parliament. The government was obstinate in parliament, did not respond to a single word on Pegasus, and when the session ended, went to Supreme Court and said we'll form a committee. ये पार्लियामेंट में बोल देते हैं भाई, तो सेशन चलता. You stop the parliament.
अरे आपकी नहीं सुनते, वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट की सुनते हैं. वहाँ 4 सवाल पूछ का जवाब देना पड़ता, तो मुश्किल हो जाती. आपके सवालों का जवाब देने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है उनको.
It is also to forestall Supreme Court inquiry.
को भी जवाब नहीं दे रहे.
Gautam Mukherjee, is this a good plan? Will it work this time? देश के लोगों को जवाब नहीं दे रहे. Hence, 19 parties are asking the questions.
Well, you know, when you say 19 parties, I count Congress as 50%. These people have realized that if they don't bend their knee and join with Congress, nobody other than Congress can get between 40 and 60 seats. They got 40 something, 44. They can get, based on all their efforts, perhaps up to 60 seats. If they run away with the ball, they conceivably could get higher than that. Now, the only contender who could come anywhere near that kind of figure is Mamata Banerjee. Mamata Banerjee is gunning for the prime ministership as much as a Congress nominee from the Gandhis may be. Now, the point is they can't do without each other. They're conjoined at the hip. The timing now, and particularly Sonia Gandhi saying so, that we will not be found wanting, is realizing the arithmetic, whichever way it goes, for the opposition, that without Congress, there is not a single hope of the opposition coming to power. Now, having said that, what is the real problem in Parliament? Sonia Gandhi said 3 times washout. The reason she said washout is their strategy failed miserably. They tried to disrupt. BJP took advantage of that and slammed all its bills through without discussion in seconds flat. And these guys were left wanting. They didn't get what they want in parliament or in the courts or in the public eye. And now they've been completely sidelined. This whole Pegasus business has been sidelined by the events in Afghanistan. What is going to happen to this over the 2.5 years? The first blow is going to be because they are not, as an opposition grouping, including the fact that SB-PSP stayed away, they are not going to win UP. And the party that wins UP is halfway there in terms of coming to power in 2024.
Yeah.
So, they may have a long laundry list of grievances. None of them have worked. They talk about farmers' agitation. Please understand that is not the farmers. The farmers are getting paid for the first time in their lives. It is a bunch of dalals, some 5,000 of them, and that is not a farmers' agitation. They've also been hijacked to a certain extent by Khalistanis and other such figures. It's got nothing, and 8 months later, they're languishing. Even the money is drying up. So, and you take Pegasus. Now, Pegasus is a hawa without substance, because if there was any substance, they'd go to the courts, they'd go to the police, they'd make something of it. Just making a noise saying I'm being watched. Yeah, you're being watched. It's the government's job to watch.
Gautam Mukherjee, they have gone to the court. And when it's a matter this large, this big, if the allegations are so huge, going to police may not be the solution. Yeah, 1 minute, please. Clyde Crasto has been wanting to make a point. Clyde first. Yes.
Yeah, Tanvi, I just want to...
Yes, and Aarti then. Yes.
Should I? Are you asking Clyde?
No. Yes, to Clyde.
Okay,
Clyde needs to respond to what Gautam Mukherjee said.
It has become a non-issue, so I don't want to get sidetracked into that. This conversation is really about the
possibility of a united front. Yes, Clyde Crasto.
Tanvi,
will be the arithmetic. First of all, unity.
Mr. Gautam Mukherjee, just 1 minute, please. If I can just bring Clyde in, I will come back to you.
Okay, now can I speak? Yeah? Okay, thank you. Okay, the point here is that the BJP spokesperson kept saying that, it was a nice meeting and she was almost smiling away and everything. The point here is at least all those who met today were following the government protocol and didn't gather together. Just like how the BJP right now is out on the street, Jan Ashirwad Yatra, not following the own, diktats or own directives or anything. They're just going for what they did in the second wave. They're probably going to add more to the third wave. There'll be the reasons why the third wave is going to start spreading all across the country, because they're just going berserk all over the place. Now, the other thing was, the BJP spokesperson also said that, we're not discussing COVID. We've been discussing COVID. When are you going to discuss why there were bodies floating in the Ganges? What was happening in Uttar Pradesh? Why were the numbers not shown, why were they not giving us the right numbers in Uttar Pradesh? That's the whole point. When are they going to talk about, on the ghats of Varanasi, when the funeral pyres, 25, 30 funeral pyres were burning at the same time? Who represents Varanasi in the parliament? When are they going to discuss all these things? All the numbers, the figures that were not given out. When you were talking, please have the decency. When you were talking, I did not talk. So please have the decency to hear me out. Okay? So the facts, the figures of the COVID numbers in the BJP governed states, nobody's wanting to discuss all that. When are we going to discuss all that? And when the opposition is coming together, coming on a common platform and discussing all these issues, they're having a problem. Instead of talking about what the issues are, they are concentrating so much on what is the opposition going to do. If they are not
so tell me this, okay, you want this government to answer questions. You are saying nobody's talking about these issues. You want the government to talk about these issues. If you couldn't get them to talk inside the parliament, how are you going to do it outside the parliament? Give me an example.
1 minute. Can I answer that?
Can I answer that? Yes.
Yeah, can I answer that? No, can I answer that? I'm going to take a leaf out of Mr. Gautam's book also, what he just spoke about. He said, the BJP took advantage. If you're showing dissent in parliament against what the government is doing, okay, you're going to say that you're disrupting the parliament, you bring in marshals and everything, you take advantage and turn it around. So then that does not mean that we are not raising a voice. We are raising a voice in the parliament, but you're using brute force and using power and making sure that we don't talk about it. So let's bring it out onto the streets. You want to? We will continue fighting, whether it's the parliament or whether it's out on the street. We will continue to raise the voice of the people against the incumbent government who's not doing anything for the last 7 years.
Okay,
We
okay.
continue to do so.
Yes, I know everybody wants to make a point. Allow me to go around the table one by one, starting with Aarti Jairath.
I think the issue today is really whether the opposition can unite to take on the BJP.
Yeah.
The issue we're discussing here today is not this long list of, sort of criticisms and, issues that the BJP needs to answer. We need answers from the opposition. The opposition representatives of on this panel have completely evaded the critical question of why they were not able to get together to form a united front for the 2019 elections, despite standing together on a stage in 2018 in Bengaluru. Why were they not able to do it? What makes them think that they can do it today? 4 years, 5 years later, what has changed? I need answers from the opposition, not issues on which the BJP has to answer. Those issues are there, and obviously the opposition will keep raising the issues, and everybody wants the government to answer. But please, can the opposition please tell us, give us some idea of what their plan is to come together? How are they going to come together? Are you going to continue to have the kind of open fights within the Congress like we've seen in Punjab, where they're virtually gifting away a state that they should be winning? Are we going to see the Congress constantly criticizing the Shiv Sena and the NCP in Maharashtra? Nana Patole is constantly doing it. Is that the kind of unity that we're going to see? I mean, somewhere the opposition must answer questions that what is going to be the change in their behavior instead of just going on attacking the BJP.
Okay.
We know that they will attack the BJP.
So I say good evening.
Opposition.
Right. Okay. I say good evening to Manu Sundaram of DMK and Ghanshyam Tiwari of Samajwadi Party. But Mr. Suppal, do you have a specific example to give us first? Not the issues that you want to counter the BJP on, but how will you do that?
Tanvi, I can start by responding to Aarti ji that in today's era, only opposition is asked question and not the government, but I'll not say that. It's in a lighter vein. Issue is, first to set the record right, Samajwadi Party sent a letter, Akhilesh Yadav sent the letter in the meeting, and today's press communication has mentioned that letter that he is with the opposition unity, but he could not make for certain personal reasons. So it is not that the Samajwadi Party was not part of this exercise. Samajwadi Party attended all the meetings in parliament, which were almost 19 meetings that took place in parliament in the last session. Now, question is, why do we want to have answers in binaries, yes or no, today about 2024 election? Politics is about process. Process today is that opposition has to agitate together. Opposition has to come together on the streets of this country. Today's meeting has led to a clear-cut action plan that from 20th September to 30th September, there will be agitation and protests across the country by this collective opposition on various issues relating to price rise, relating to unemployment, mismanagement of COVID, about farmers, etc. So this is more important. The opposition will not reply through words. It should reply through its action. And action is there that for the first time in so many years, the opposition is coming together and declaring agitation on the streets of India, standing with people. So that is what I want to say. But I also want to respond to one statement made in your program that the farmers who are agitating are paid people, Khalistani supporters. Sir, if you have this information, please go and tell it to this government. If this government is not bothered about internal security for last 10 months, then this is a fit case for this government to resign. Those are farmers of India. They are agitating for their rights. And please do not use those words for those farmers who are sitting, and agitation is their fundamental right for which India fought for independence. This is not a right gifted by BJP. So please do not use those words for those farmers. They are, and opposition will now stand with them, fight with them.
Okay. Now, let's move to some interesting aspects, more interesting aspects of this meeting as well. Since we are talking about opposition unity and what can be achieved out of it, will it even survive 1 month, 1 year, or up to 2024? Ghanshyam Tiwari, please explain to us, why was your party not a part of this? Don't you think this is good optics for you ahead of your elections in your state?
Well, good evening to you, Tanvi, your viewers and fellow co-panelists. I believe that Samajwadi Party has been a formidable part of every opposition discussion that has happened, both in parliament and outside. And we continue to do that, whether it was an interaction at Sri Sharad Pawarji's residence, the Rashtramanch meetings, or the various other meetings, including the one that happened at Member of Parliament Kapil Sibalji's place. So I think just taking out one meeting and saying that opposition unity is getting fractured, I don't think that's the right conclusion. I think what Aartiji says is an important question, because it is one thing that Bharatiya Janata Party is discredited, the leadership is discredited because they have not delivered. It's the other thing that opposition has to be a united force that serves the aspirations of people and presents an alternative vision of Wakai Achhe Din rather than the Bure Din that Bharatiya Janata Party and Narendra Modi ji and his government has given to every family in this country. And to that extent, it is something that is going to evolve with every such interaction. The 2022 Uttar Pradesh elections are crucial. We believe that in Uttar Pradesh, Bharatiya Janata Party will be routed and Akhilesh Yadav ji and his government will be elected by people.
But you still are not. Why you have not answered my question, Ghanshyam. Will it be a one-off event? Is that what you're saying, or will this be now status quo until 2022 elections?
No, I think that if you look at the series of very, very transparent discussions that opposition leaders have come together and had,
Yeah.
almost all these discussions, most political parties have been part of it. So I think rather than reading of one such meeting, you look at the series of meeting, and we believe that Samajwadi Party is fully committed to forge this alliance among opposition parties, so that we give a aspirational alternative to people of India, especially the youth, who are desperate and have been made desperate by a Bharatiya Janata Party who does not even recognize the aspirations of employment or better education and better progress in this country.
Okay,
So
let me ask this question to then. Okay, let me ask this question to Aarti Jairath. Aarti, are you convinced with this answer? And I think, BSP's stand is actually more clear. They say if you're poaching our MLAs in Rajasthan, we're not going to be joining your meetings and backing you at the center. But this is the Samajwadi Party's answer.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I really don't know why Samajwadi Party did not attend the meeting today. Yes, I know that they have been present at the meetings during Parliament session. But the fact is that this was a critical meeting attended by all the top opposition leaders, from Sharad Pawar to Mamta Banerjee, and everybody. I mean, Akhilesh Yadav should have been there if he wants to put up a show of unity against the BJP. He should have been there. That does not bind him to an alliance for the UP elections, but he could have certainly, put in a presence, put in an appearance at this meeting. Now, the point is, I think I'm very interested in what Gurdeep Sapal said, that they actually do have an action plan, that they are for the next 1 month they're planning these agitations on the street. The point really is to see whether this thing sticks together, whether it comes together in some kind of cohesive movement against the government, or whether they ultimately, fall apart on this whole issue of leadership. Because the fact is that, during Parliament session, yes, but, all these opposition parties did meet, but you also saw a lot of parallel things happening. Mamta Banerjee doing her own meetings, Rahul Gandhi, then suddenly stepping up and doing his own meetings. And then, we saw, this kind of tussle going on who was going to actually don the leadership mantle and then Kapil Sibal held his, little dinner party where he called all the top opposition leaders. So, this kind of thing presents a picture of fragmentation, of disunity. So somehow the opposition has to gain credibility. It has to present itself as a credible alternative to the people of India, against Narendra Modi. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult for people to take them seriously, I'm afraid. However long the list is of grievances against the Modi government.
Okay. Yes, there is no denying the fact on the long list of grievances, but does it translate into anything as a gain, effective gain, vote gain for the opposition parties is what we have to see, and who gains and do they gain together. Manu Sundaram, good evening to you. Sonia Gandhi in her statement said, of course, the ultimate goal is 2024 Lok Sabha elections, for which we have to begin to plan systematically with a single-minded objective of giving to our country a government that believes in freedom movement and in principles of our constitution. This is a challenge, but together we can and must rise to it, because there is no other alternative to working cohesively together. There seems to be a realization amongst at least the Congress party, and this was the message given to all of you there, that there is no other option but to come together. But can it last till 2024? Obviously, she is not just talking about next 1 month's agitation plan.
Well, Tanvi, I don't think it should come as a surprise to anyone. Today's meeting is not about 2024. It's not about 2023. It's not even about 2022. It's about the year that we are in, the economic distress that we've suffered, the rather indifferent approach of the government, the complete mismanagement of the COVID pandemic, including but not limited to the handling of the vaccination strategy. It concerns national security issues around Pegasus. It concerns the issues raised by farmers over the last 2 years, the repercussions and the consequences of the Citizenship Amendment Act, to say a few. This meeting should not be viewed as some sort of a long-term strategy. It is the reality. It is the reflection of the reality that we face today as stakeholders in the political system. This is not just opposition parties. Please don't just label them as such. These are chief ministers of various states, former chief ministers of state, people like other leaders of high importance and repute to what this country is what's going to happen to this country. So therefore, this must be seen as a photograph of the moment that we live in today politically. So therefore, I don't see why we are sort of missing the woods for the trees.
But I'm not missing the woods for the trees. I literally read out to you from the statement of Sonia Gandhi that talks about the ultimate goal of 2024.
Of course, every election is important. But what I'm trying to say here, Tanvi, and you know this, is that it's not only 2024. As my friend from the Samajwadi Party says, it is about the upcoming Uttar Pradesh election. It is about the Punjab election, as my friend from the Congress would agree. It is about all the other state elections. It's not just one election to the Lok Sabha, which is to be held in 2024 alone. And I'm pretty sure the Indian National Congress and its president would also agree that it is the various states that have put up a challenge. Since 2019, it is my humble submission that the BJP has not won a state of any major importance since 2019. You can Maharashtra, Rajasthan, of course Madhya Pradesh, of course Karnataka, Punjab, and so on and so forth. So therefore, it does assume significance. But I think it is also an outpouring of the kind of terrible handling of the parliament session. So that is why it was organized after the monsoon session, of course. And this being the 75th anniversary of Indian independence, I think the opposition unity point is not lost on anyone, but I don't think anyone should be too concerned whether these grouping of parties will stay together. I think there is a very gradual but certain uprising of anger and discontent amongst the people of the country. So, that is what this meeting reflects.
All right. Charu Pragya, your response to this and to what DMK has now raised before I go across to Gautam Mukherjee. I think you're on mute, Charu. Just because I didn't come to you for so long, you muted yourself.
Unfortunately, but that's all right. So I was listening to Manu, and Manu actually seems to have missed the point. He finished his entire opening statement before realizing that Sonia Gandhi ji has said quite the opposite. So that's your united opposition. What more do I need to say? But, moving beyond from there, all the issues that the opposition is raising today are issues which the opposition should be thinking about within their own states as well. So when Mamta Didi says that she wants free vaccination vaccinations for all. Well, Didi, good morning. I know you're very busy, but India already has free vaccinations for all. And we are on our way to ensuring our population is vaccinated at the earliest. And then when we talk about COVID, well, Kerala is the most recent example. There was not even a situation in Pakistan where lockdown was lifted for Eid, but where did it happen? It happened in our very own Kerala. And like I said, there are so many examples of these things. But what the opposition does in parliament is not allow the parliament to go on. It's a loss of revenue for the country. It's a loss for the people of the country who have voted these representatives to be there. So instead of asking your questions there and getting answers there, the opposition decides to hold a social meet. I will continue to call it that because that's all it was. It's like meeting over a cup of chai, eating some pakoras and asking how people are doing, how things are in their states. And then the proof of the pie is in the pudding. So we'll have to just wait and watch because 2018 showed us this. After that also, we've seen a lot of conversation around uniting. This unity cannot happen till these people are on a common platform, choosing a common leader. That doesn't seem to be on the agenda at all. It's definitely not on the agenda. Every single person who's attended this meeting wants to be a prime minister in the times to come. It's actually a deja vu of 2018.
Well, you know, it feels like, Gautam Mukherjee, that Mamata Banerjee is extremely, right now encouraged and excited, backed by her recent victory. So is Mr. M.K. Stalin. And that's why a lot of these leaders want to figure what they want to do next together at a national level. All of these opposition parties are extremely happy about the parliament logjam that happened and the way they think they cornered the government. A recent media survey, National TV's media survey, showed mood of the nation isn't that much in favor of the current government either. Is that what it is? There are just indications that show that you are at a point of strength right now, so let's just try and encash it, but they don't know how.
You know, you hit the nail on the head, Tanvi. The problem that I've seen throughout the 7 years is this rear view mirror type of protest. Now they want to take it on the street. Sonia Gandhi said, look, we've been hammered out of, consideration in parliament, wash out. So take it to the streets. What are you planning? I've heard every panelist who's talking issues. He's talking about issues that started 5 years ago, issues that started 2 years ago, was last year's. There is nothing but grievances and victimhood. What you haven't got, not once, not from the spokespersons, not from friends of the opposition, is what are you going to do for the country? I've never heard that. I've never heard that from anybody. Not the great and good like Sharad Pawar, not from Sonia Gandhi. She doesn't think for herself. There are think tanks. She's got a problem with the G23, who haven't been given much except a sop here and a sop there to keep them from blowing up. Who have you got? Mamata Banerjee. Mamata Banerjee is the most effective of them. Stalin has managed to get his legacy. Very good indeed, very good indeed. But that is typically what happens in Tamil Nadu. It's once this, once that. This was already 3 times the other guy. So this, but Mamata Banerjee, has she got any salience outside of Bengal, a little bit in Assam, trying to get a foothold in Tripura? Who wants to know about her outside these places? But she's looking at the mathematics and saying, look, I still might get 40 to 60 and bludgeon everybody into supporting me. But does that add up to a majority? I don't think. Those days are gone. Now, I'm not saying that BJP has done well on everything, but it has great luck. The second phase is almost over, and the third phase is not looking as threatening as all that. So whether the vaccination was great or badly handled, it's working. Many people have been, crores and crores have been vaccinated. Maybe this whole thing goes away. What is the opposition going to give us? We know BJP is taxing us out of our houses and homes. We know we're living on our savings. It's been a bad 2 years. We know all that. But where's the alternative?
Okay,
Just
you
people
know,
coming
you've
together and
actually
blaming
made
the
a point. You've
when
actually
RT
made a
said
point
it's not going
that
to
will
package.
resonate with a lot of our viewers. It will resonate with a lot of our viewers because I've often heard it that yes, we know the economy is down. Yes, we know the problem there is as far as the jobs market is concerned. Yes, we know COVID second wave badly hit us. We've had a traumatic experience ourselves. But do we want to change our view? If not the BJP, then who? Maybe the opposition can try and find an answer to that. Manu Sundaram, can you find an answer to that before 2024 elections?
I don't see why not. And this has always been the question that has been posed before any opposition grouping in the lead up to an election. And this was asked before the BJP as well in 2012 and 13, before they had their conclave in the September of 2013 in Goa. So it's not at all inconceivable that there will be many contenders for Prime Minister. But what is important is, and I always say this, oppositions do not win elections, governments lose. This applies as well for the BJP as it does for the Indian National Congress, the DMK, NCP, or any other party. Every election is an assessment, is a test, is against the metric of how a government has performed. And I think it's become all too fashionable for us to now question who's the opposition candidate, what is the opposition doing, and so forth. But before the people of this country, and I say this having just faced an election in the state of Tamil Nadu, it is always what has the government done in the last 5 years. The last 2 years, we've had a pandemic across the world, nevertheless, but a pandemic which has, I think, been disproportionately adverse in our own country and amongst our own people.
So together you want to, Ghanshyam, make noise about the failures of this government starting now to 2024, just like there was noise against the failures of the UPA in the last 3 years of their second term?
Well, I'll say two things. One is that yes, there is a lot of experience and the very strong point put out by RTG and Gautam. But the fact is that politics is not about perfect picture. Once you put out the imagery of opposition parties coming together, where is an alternative image of any NDA alliance coming together? JDU wants an investigation on Pegasus. Have we seen any picture of BJP with its allies? So that's the reality of the politics of the day. Second is that, yes, one can question that what is an alternative vision that opposition has. But if you do any survey, you will see that who are the top 5 performing chief ministers in the country and which of them are BJP chief ministers. Whether it is Maharashtra, whether you take Bengal, where are the chief ministers who are getting elected on the basis of their work? The BJP, Assam was a major state, BJP won, right? Was it only on the basis of the work or the bogey that they raised with NRC, CAA? There's a question mark. They had to change the chief minister. The only major states where opposition is, where the chief minister is coming back to power on the strength of his performance or her performance are the opposition ruled states. You look at what is going to happen in Punjab. In Uttar Pradesh, Adityanath is going to be thrown out by people. Right? In Goa, BJP is in tatters. In Uttarakhand, BJP is in tatters. So state after state, BJP is not getting re-elected on the strength of their performance or the strength of their chief minister. They have to change chief ministers several times in Uttarakhand alone. In comparison, the opposition has its act together and the model is governance, and that is what the people have to decide.
Yes, Charu Pragya.
Just one quick correction. Ghanshyam ji, the Assam Chief Minister was announced after we won the election. So your entire argument again falls flat. That's all I'm doing today. I'm listening to other people talk and just reminding them that they're just getting trapped in their own loops.
Okay. I am completely out of time, but last 30 seconds to Gurdeep Sappal. Yes.
I was listening to Gautam Bhai. I understand that Modi ji has had a love affair with lot of masses of this country. But as his savings are being pinched, it is happening to so many of our fellow Indians. They are feeling this, that this love affair has gone wrong. Gautam Bhai, few days more, you will also start looking for a new beloved. Don't worry. This country is waiting for this affair.
I think the point is, Gurdeep Sappal, there may be many people who are looking for an alternative but can't find one. That's the point he's making. Yeah.
Tanvi, sometimes when a marriage goes wrong, you divorce, but you don't first look for a new spouse. You divorce and then go out. So
but I would still want a government. People may not want a husband or a wife, but they definitely want a government at the center. Point taken. second. I know what you mean. Yes, completely out of time. Thank you so much to all of the panelists for joining me on this conversation. So another of those big meetings, mega opposition meeting led by Sonia Gandhi, stalwarts like Sharad Pawar present there, the new age chief ministers like M.K. Stalin present there, Uddhav Thackeray present, extremely energized after a recent victory in, after beating BJP in West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee present there. There's also a sense of, oh, we currently have an upper hand. The government is cornered on many issues. There are many legitimate issues to talk about, to highlight. We have successfully grabbed everybody's attention with what we did in the parliament. And what do we do next? That actually is the toughest question. Now, can this united opposition find the answer to what do we do next to cash in on this sentiment which may be there in the country and convert it somehow to their advantage by 2024? If it's just about how we're going to agitate for the next 1 month, how many more rallies, cycle rallies, padyatras, flag rallies are we going to take out across the country, rail roko, rasta roko, and if that's really what was discussed today and is going to come to an end as some political representatives wanted us to believe, then there was really no point to it. Then it's not going to be of any benefit to anybody. And clearly there is a message from parties in Uttar Pradesh who have to go to a political test first, that they are not too keen in terms of standing with this opposition for their own benefits. Maybe Akhilesh changes his mind, maybe Mayawati changes her mind. We'll wait and watch. Thank you for joining us on this conversation.